Your first home is not going to be your dream home.
If you had $100 notes in your wallet, every month you wait, you might as well just throw a $100 bill in the bin, because that's exactly what's happening.
Is the fear of missing out helping or hurting first home buyers?
The first thing I would say is
Two people on the below median wage together with minimum debt can buy a home.
you don't need this massive house, especially if you're a single person and look at Instagram and these people have built this $1 million home.
The worst decision you can make with building and buying a home is... Welcome to Own It, your property partner. Open chats about property, finance, and everything in between. I'm Adam Schall, owner and founder of Locale Property Group. Today we're recording on the land of the Whadjuk Noongar people. Today's episode is Champagne Taste on a Beer Budget. This is for all people considering getting in the market and what they can actually afford and what they can make happen. Despite what the headline says, it's still very possible for you to be able to get into the market. There are some compromises and there's some things to consider. We'll chat about that today. Joining me today is Quentin Smith, a seasoned veteran in property, and he'll be sharing all his insights on how you can get into the market today. Welcome to Own It, Quentin. Before we get cracking, tell us a bit about you and where you get all that passion and energy from.
Hello, awesome. Guys, thanks for having me. I'm actually quite excited about this podcast. A bit about me, born in South Africa. Passion and energy it comes from, I love changing people's lives, and this gives me a massive, massive energy to do it right. Like, there's a lot of lazy people in this world, and I'm the type of person, when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm actually going to do it.
Yeah, back it up.
Back it up. So 100%. And, you know, I'm just a person that can't sit still.
100%, we see that. You're originally from South Africa. Tell us about that.
Yep, originally from South Africa, born and bred from Johannesburg. What we did is we randomly decided to travel the world. We packed a suitcase, landed in London, and we lived there for 7 years. Obviously, I come from an engineering background. I do a lot of construction work. South Africa is very different to Perth. Weather, food, and people are very similar, but with housing and a lot of crime there. We've got loads of crime in South Africa. So for me to walk out in Perth and go to a park and go to like restaurants and that is unbelievable. I feel that we're very lucky to be in a place like this, because back there you can still live and have a great life, but there's a lot of crime. I've been hijacked. My wife's been held at gunpoint before. I'm not saying South Africa is bad. It's just you have to be a lot more aware than like going home.
Absolutely.
And we're very, very fortunate to be in this beautiful place, Perth, Australia.
That's pretty wild. So tell us about the hijacking.
Yeah, so in South Africa, when you brought up, you got two demographics, if you want to call it. You've got very, very rich and you've got very, very poor. There's no in between. There's not a lot of like government help and that, and I'm not going to go into politics today, but it's here in Perth, you've got a lot more help and a lot more opportunities. In there, people fight and they steal things and they rob, and it's pretty sad because it's a beautiful country. But unfortunately, when I got hijacked, they hijacked me for a mobile phone and my vehicle. Fortunately enough, I'm trained by my dad. He runs one of the biggest security companies in the country. Came out of the army, so I was trained how to protect myself. So they hijacked me, they smashed me in the head, held me with an AK-47 to my head, about 10 people. And the only reason why I survived and got away is because another car came down the road at the same time, and lucky it was the police.
Wow.
So I was saved. And the sad bit, my wife was hijacked and kidnapped. She was taken away, tied in a room for 24 hours. And the only reason why we saved it because we had really good police cops working for us, and so they managed to escape, and we tracked them on their mobile phones, and she survived.
Wow.
If we didn't find them, they probably would have lost their lives, which is
That's
pretty sad.
Yeah, I got goosebumps talking about that. It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand why you choose to move to Australia, and specifically Western Australia. We're pretty darn blessed over here. It's an amazing place, and having to bring children up, obviously you've got kids now, in an environment like that would be pretty bloody scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. And why we chose Perth, Western Australia, my wife's parents, Lex's parents, immigrated about 25, 30 years ago to Perth. Her brother went to Sydney, and then when we landed in London, we sort of at a crossroads. I was working in Dubai and London and all over the world, essentially. And we said, for our family where is going to be the best possible place to bring up our kids. And it was kind of a no-brainer to come to Australia and see if we can do it. I got sponsored over to come here, worked in construction and that for many years until I went to the builder. But we stayed in Perth because does have a very similar lifestyle to South Africa. Very cool people, love our food, love our outdoor lifestyle, beautiful weather. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And for me, I walked out to a park and I called my dad and I was like, Dad, you won't believe it. There's people suntanning in the park. Like, unbelievable. He didn't, and being my dad at the army, never left South Africa, just proper South African.
Yeah.
He couldn't believe it. And our lifestyle, like running in the night and going to the shops and going into a bank and everything works.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And the opportunity here is incredible lifestyles and we're very, very lucky.
So how's your background and experience influence how you work today?
Coming from South Africa, I grew up with a strict dad, very army orientated. We brought up with manners. We open doors for ladies. We push in chairs. We take the bins out. That's our sort of gig that we do. But we hard workers in South Africa. As I said earlier, you either have a high-paying job in a very, very senior position, or you have your own business. So you actually have to work to get paid there. There's no dole or government funding or anything. If you don't work, you don't pay your bills. And the way I was raised is the more work you put in, the harder you work, the better your life's going to be. And I have always been a person to look after my family.
Yep. And
when I came to Perth, I was bemused that you would phone someone and they wouldn't even call you back, or like they wouldn't do anything. It was just too hard. So I've taken my background and my upbringing and my perseverance into Perth, and it's unbelievable.
Absolutely. We see that with people coming from all sorts of backgrounds. They come here with that level of work ethic and accountability and not depending on anyone and not relying on the government, and you just have that really dig deep attitude, and the amount of success you can have in Australia is unbelievable. It's untapped.
100%.
So yeah, it's anyone out there, it's completely achievable, but there's compromise. It's delayed gratification, it's working hard, it's late nights, it's not spending your money, it's all those little 1%ers you need to do, but you can get so far ahead in Australia if you really want to.
100%.
So Perth has officially become somewhat unaffordable. Are people expecting too much for their first home?
To be honest, I've been in the industry now going on 15 years. I think they are expecting a little bit too much. And the reason being, if you go look at the days, even go 12 years ago, for what you actually got as a first home was nothing compared to what you get now. So yes, it feels like the cost has increased, but you're getting so much more value in a home with less issues. So like the way they're doing the showers, for example, they've gone from hob showers to hobless showers. So your waterproofing defects have reduced. So there's so much more, I think, that we're getting now than we were getting before.
Correct. Yeah, specification levels has completely increased. That's a given. Obviously, affordability with build prices have gone up exponentially just based on labour supply or labour pressures, building supply, and just so many people trying to move to the state or trying to buy homes in the area.
Yes.
We just got this exponential growth from a cost point of view. But land, same thing. We can only develop so much land as a state. We obviously have bureaucracy and red tape going through government. There's only so much that they can get through, and also there's only a finite amount of civil companies that can develop the land. So there is immense pressures, and like you said, what our grandparents could buy versus what our parents could buy versus what we can buy or could have bought or have bought versus what this generation is buying. Yes, it's slowly you're getting, I guess, less and it's costing more, but it is still somewhat affordable. And, there's people out there that can get in with a 2% deposit still or a 5% deposit now through the government scheme with no lender's mortgage insurance. So save yourself 20 or 30 grand. You can get yourself into a home, and
100%.
You don't need to have a huge income. If you're a partner in a relationship and you're earning 130 grand as a dual income and don't have too much debt, you can get into a home. So that's the below median wage. Two people on the below median wage together with minimum debt can buy a home.
It's pretty easy.
So it's somewhat achievable still. And don't get me wrong, it has gotten harder, but you can't expect to live where your parents live. Where my grandparents, they were living in Mount Hawthorn, then my grandparents lived in Mount Hawthorn, then parents moved to Sorrento, which they thought was the sticks, and now this generation's probably having to move to Alkimos, which they think it's the sticks, but that's it's all relative. Like
it's still relative to the stage. Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
The sticks is the sticks now, but it won't be in 5 to 10 to 15 years, and you're going to have exponential growth. So it's just managing expectations, I guess, but also getting creative. And it's your first home's not always your forever home. So it's,
exactly right.
It's getting in and
anywhere in the world, you go anywhere in the world, and you tell me where you can find a beach property for under $750. Nowhere. Perth, you can do that. 10 years ago, everybody was telling us that Hillary's was miles away. Now it's booming. You can't get a property there for $1 million. It's crazy. Yeah. So I think it's all relative to the stage and life cycle we're in, where you could buy a house in Marmion or any top areas for $95,000. Yeah. No, you can't buy it. It's just never going to happen. But yeah, I think it's definitely affordable as long as you've got an action plan and someone really good to help you to provide a solution for that.
Correct. And delay gratification and also compromise. That's like with anything in life. You've got to compromise. Your first home is not going to be your dream home. And for my first home was pretty rough around the edges, and it wasn't an area that I loved to live, and it was trashed and needed renovation and all those sorts of things. But it's compromising. I'm like, I'm going to get into this. I'm going to tidy it up. I'm going to get an equity bump. And then I bought closer and closer to the areas that I want each time.
100%.
So yeah, people need to have that mindset. This is just a vehicle sometimes to the next stage of their life.
Next stage, yeah.
It's like going into a career and going, I want to be the CEO from day one, straight out of uni. It doesn't happen.
No, you got to start
at entry level, and it's exact same with property. Get in at entry level, learn from it, get some capital growth through it, maybe add some value to that property, and then leverage it and go again.
Yep.
So in that time, hopefully you've grown with your career as well, and you may be earning more money, or your partner might be earning more money, and you're in a better position to buy. But get in as soon as you physically can.
100%.
So have expectations changed since COVID, and what was affordable 5 years ago versus what it is today?
I think COVID has changed the way we work and do life now. I think when Uber came out, the expectation destroyed everything. I think COVID came out and it made us more aware, but it also changed everything that we were going to do. For example, COVID came out, then we had the grants, and then they released it, and it was just chaos. It took us a little bit of time to come through that, but it also reminded us what was important. I don't think COVID restrained it and made it more expensive. I think they controlled it more. So suppliers, bricklayers, the way we actually went on site and did work, office environments, working from home. I think COVID was good not for the people that suffered, but for businesses and that. I think it was really good to show people how to look after their staff, how to maintain good, healthy relationships, mental health, that sort of stuff. So,
of course, yeah,
I think it was going to be expensive whether COVID came or not. I think it definitely is still affordable though.
Correct. We had a mad inflationary period. COVID probably drove part of that, but we have these corrections every couple of decades. There is a huge corrections. You hear about our grandparents buying properties for $25,000 in Mount Hawthorn.
100%.
That didn't go from $25,000 to 1.5 overnight. We have these inflationary periods where we have corrections, and that was one of them. It's one of the major ones that we had in our lifetime living in Western Australia, I guess, when we're of age and buying. But yeah, it was a big correction, but it needed to happen. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. You just got to deal with it. And what we could have bought to what we can buy now is different, but we can't change that. So my thing is just control the controllables, whatever you can control.
Love that. Control the controllables.
Yeah, control what you can, focus on what you can fix, what you can do as an individual, and get into the market as soon as physically possible. So as people sitting on the sidelines feeling a little bit stuck, what are some ways that they can get into the market?
First thing I would say is people actually don't know how it all works. So what I would say, get in touch with us. Let us help you. We are actually really good people that will come up with a plan, a solution, and actually provide you a game plan on what to do. The greatest thing about us, we have Local Financial, which is our financial company within our business. We have access to multiple different options for you. For example, we have the Key Start scheme, which is amazing for first home buyers. So it's not just, no, you can't do this. We've had plenty of clients that's come to us and gone, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I've got all this debt. We'll sit with you and actually come up with a plan. And the difference between us and everybody else is we actually do care. It might be a lot of work. People will just brush you to the side and go way too hard. Where we will sit, we'll come up with a plan. If it's not now, we'll have it in 6 months, a year, whatever it may be, but we'll actually guide you to that position.
There are some pretty crazy incentives and things that have happened the last couple of months. Obviously, we've seen interest rates dropping, and that's been a few rates that have dropped, which makes huge impact on borrowing power. Like every rate cut could be anywhere from $15 or $12 to $15,000 for someone, so their borrowing capacity is increasing. We've had a few of them in a row. There's pretty big borrowing power changes. We've seen Keystar increase their cap from a purchase property perspective up to 800K, so they're opening up more properties that are available. Albo's first-time buyer deposit scheme, they've taken away the caps whatsoever from an income perspective. So no matter what you earn, if you're a FIFO and you're earning really good income, you can now get a 5% deposit, no LMI.
It's incredible.
House and land package. So lender's mortgage insurance on an 800K package is about 28.5K.
It's a lot of money.
It's a shitload of money that you're saving that's in your pocket.
Yeah.
And that's $28,500 that's back in the consumer's pocket. And that's going to go, they've now got $28,500 more to spend on the property.
Yeah.
So what's that going to do to property? We've got more people with access to Keystar. We've got more people being able to borrow more money, anywhere from, if it's one rate cut, $15,000. If it's 3 rate cuts, it's $45,000 in the market.
Incredible,
so, and we've already got the lowest stock levels in history since they've been recording the data. So we're under 2,000, I think it's under 2,200 properties on the market currently in Western Australia, which is just ludicrous.
Crazy. There's more more real estate agents in Perth than there are properties
to sell. So that is critical levels. Like the stock level should be sitting around 14 to 15,000 properties. We're so under that. It's not funny. We can't keep up from a land development point of view. And we've still got migration. We've still got people wanting to buy, and we've still got people wanting to invest in WA because the yields are incredible. The rents are still going up. It's a bloody amazing
great market.
So urgency is everything. Like obviously there's sales tactics out there, but you sit on the sidelines and wait, you're going to be paying for it. And it's pretty irrefutable data. When you give more money out to consumers, which is what they've done, they're stimulating the economy through more money with interest rates and government incentives, prices go up.
So 100%. Take a good look. In South Africa, you don't have this. You have not many people build houses. Only the very rich build houses. So to have land, it's very hard to get land. We don't have land estates there. So to have something in Perth where you have so many big land pockets that build your infrastructure with great roads, parks, they even have basketball courts in the estates now, all your transports, it's unbelievable. You get all your fencing in most estates, your front landscaping, all your power is already done. It's unbelievable.
Yep. Move in. Grab
Move
your
in.
clothes and your
Call me.
furniture and you're in. So yeah, amazing. There's also ways where we can see people secure property today in today's prices, and they can lock in something on a delayed title, which is something we encourage clients to do. If you're not quite in the financial situation, you may need to save a bit more deposit. You may need to shut down a credit card. You may need to extend your car loan from 5 years to 7 years, whatever it may be, to get you servicing. You can still lock in a house and land package today, and the titles might not be for 6 to 9 to 12 months. That means you're securing at today's price. You're putting a holding deposit down on it. You're not even funding it. You're paying no interest on it. You're paying nothing. And you're getting capital growth on that property. You basically own that property for 6 to 9 months before you paid for it. So we see clients often secure a block. By the time they're ready to go to site with their build, they might have $20,000 to $100,000 in equity. And I do anticipate that that's going to happen again because we are seeing so much activity in the market and all these incentives coming back in the market. We will see prices start to increase. I'm starting to see it now. All the developers we're talking to, they're going to put their prices up based on market sentiment. So
100% agree. How it works, as you know, in Perth, you've got your corridors, and if there's 7, 8 land developers in that corridor and one land developer puts it up by 10,000, all of them put it up by 10,000. So it goes up exponentially. And I've got a couple of cool stories to tell you. But for example, I have a client that's coming from Sydney, relocating, but they essentially could only do it in 8 months' time. So what we did is we found and we went to secure a block. Titles was about 11 months away. We got all the finances in order. She had to be in a job for a certain amount of time. We got that done. All she paid was a $3,500 deposit. In Medora Bay, she bought a 375 square meter, 15 by 25 block, 400 meters to the beach at $300,000. As soon as she got land titles, we got everything ready for her. She got titles. Her block, the new stages, was selling at $385,000. So she made $85,000, not even putting a brick or anything on her house in 11 months.
Yeah, it's almost frustrating that you see people and you're like, you need to take advantage of this
And they're
opportunity.
like, no, we'll wait.
Yeah, and it's like, don't wait. And I know it's not the dream location for you, but
It's to get in.
It's going to get worse. We see clients that go, we're going to wait. We'll sit on the sidelines, and like totally respect that. There's certain circumstances to do so, but some of them just do it because they just don't want to live in that area. But then they come back 6 to 12 months later and go, actually, I've compromised. I want to now buy in
100%.
Medora Bay. And it's like, you can't afford Medora Bay. You're in the next suburb now, and it's actually more expensive than what Medora Bay was. So urgency is key. Get in.
It's key, and it's actually got nothing to do with selling or a salesy or anything like that. It's actually generally we really want to help people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what the good thing what COVID did bring is it actually brought equity. Now, what it does is because the grants came out after COVID, before you bought a house 10 years ago, by the time you get keys, you didn't have any equity, and it took you many, many years to get it. Now, before you even get keys, you got most of the time you'll have equity in that build. So it's actually an advantage to get in. So people often say to me, "Oh, Quentin or Q-Man, I want to build in 5 months' time or 6 months' time." What I do is I actually give them a realistic timeline of how much money it'll actually cost them waiting an extra 5 months. Yeah. Because what we can do is we actually can start the whole process with a minimum deposit and actually get the ball rolling. So by the time your 5 months are up, we're 5 months ahead. So it's incredible.
Absolutely. And markets are cyclical, right? We're going to have markets where it slows down and the equity bumps aren't going to be significant. But you just got to look at the indicators. It's not slowing down anytime soon. We've got a mad undersupply. That's actually getting worse. I thought the undersupply was at its worst last year, and I thought it was going to improve this year. That was my gut feel and prediction. I was completely wrong. It's actually getting worse, and it probably will continue to get worse because we can't build enough houses. From an infrastructure point of view and building company point of view, there's not enough capability to build enough houses for the supply, which is why we have this complete undersupply. Everyone's wanting to move here. We see a lot of migration from interstate, internationally. It's an incredible place to live. And the mining industry obviously is one of our biggest industry factors, obviously from a GSP point of view. And that's not going away anytime soon either. You know, the iron ore is still cranking. It's the mining companies are doing better than they've ever been, and it's not slowing down.
No.
So,
and we've got land. And we've got land. Like Melbourne, Sydney, you're governed by mountains. Perth, you got so much land. And now with all the infrastructure going up, with all the corridors, like your northwest corridor has $550 million Mitchell Freeway extension. You got the new Metronet, the train stations. Everything is accessible within 40 to 50 minutes to the city from up there, where in most cases you'll drive 2-3 hours. So when it is increasing and you're going further up the coast or down south, it's just more options.
I'd love to hear some real life examples of where people got into certain areas and they're sitting on some real life gains.
Yep, cool. I've got great ones. I've got a lot of people that, funny enough, we're finding between that 21 and 24, they get into the homes a lot earlier. They're pushing marriage back a little bit, getting into a home, which is great. But they also weren't educated on the process and what they needed to do. And you get, I can't afford it, I can't do it now. I've got a really cool client that came over from Sydney, relocated, really loved beach lifestyle and that, and thought it was going to be $1 million because it's from Sydney. And what we did is we found her a property about 400 meters from the beach, 15 by 25, 375 square meter block. We bought it at the time, 12 months. It was about 12 months ago at about $300,000, which is unbelievable by the beach. But what she didn't know is that she thought she was only going to get it in about 2 or 3 years' time. What we did, we sat down, we came up with a game plan. She had to be in a job for a certain amount of time. She had a certain amount of savings. We had to pay off a bit of debt. We had to refinance a few things. So a bit to it, but we worked hard. And end of the day, she bought her 300. And before her home started building, she had $85,000 of equity, which in the new stage, the blocks were selling at $385,000.
Incredible.
So that is mind blowing. And that's a good thing that COVID did for us. And after the grants, it gave us the advantage to have equity inside of our house and our land prior to even moving in, which is unheard of.
Absolutely. And like all markets, it's cyclical. There's ups and downs, there's peaks and troughs. And obviously WA had a tough time about a decade ago. But all the indicators are there showing that the market is super, super strong. Like stock levels are at the lowest levels in history since it's been recorded. Interest rates have been cut. All these deposit schemes that have been available through Keystar and the federal government.
Unbelievable.
There's so much stimulating the market right now. And we've got a powerhouse economy in Western Australia. It's becoming more diversified. And the mining industry is going really, really well. That's not slowing down anytime soon. So with the migration, all the industry, the state performance, if people want to get into the market, they need to pull the trigger now because there's going to be more growth and there's going to be more stories like you just explained. That's not in the past.
No.
It's going to happen again.
100%. And we've had so many. And like we said earlier in the podcast is when you go, people didn't want to go to Hillary's at some time ago. Now you're going a little bit higher and you got Yanchep and Two Rocks and that's all. It's great. You drive for 40 minutes and you're home. Where you drive some places, if I went from Johannesburg, my hometown, to the beach, to Cape Town, it took me 13 hours. If I go to the closest beach, which is Durban, is 6 hours. You got 35 minutes, you get the beach. This is Hollywood.
Exactly.
So it's very, very cool. And people ask a lot, what if I wait 5 months or 6 months or I'm not going to do it now, I can't afford it. Come to us because I'll actually help you understand the timeline to build and how long it actually takes and how much money you'll save. Because if you say, I'll wait until 6 months, what we can actually do is educate you on the timeline from the day you start, and all you pay is your initial deposit to the house deposit. That's all you pay. And we will actually go out and do all the surveys and the contracts and get you excited for pre-start and do all the fun stuff. And by the time the 5 months is up, you've actually saved the X amount of money and you're closer to getting into your home, which you'll save money.
People think I'm going to wait 12 months, but then they wait 12 months and they start pulling the trigger and then it takes another 6 months for that home to even start construction at least. And then another 12 months to build it. So you wait 3 years. Like if you want to start in 12 months, you need to start now and start doing your research because most of the titles now are probably 6 months away. So you can't even start building a house if you actually wanted to try. If you put a deposit now and go, I want a block of land in out of state, you can't start building. So
exactly right.
Get in now, secure your block and park it up, basically, is what you're doing. You're getting a deposit. You're parking your block up until the titles come out. And the worst case is you don't proceed with a block if something goes wrong. And the best case is you get a block and you've made some equity on it and you can get a home and you're on a property ladder. So
spot on.
There's pretty low risk and there's a lot of anxiety. Like it's a really stressful, it's a big purchase. The worst decision you can make with building and buying a home is no decision.
Correct.
Literally, because that's guaranteed. You're going to get no outcome. You're going to get no equity. You're going to not going to get ahead. It's Absolutely like a guaranteed situation. So no decision is the worst decision. If you're investing in stocks or something else, that's fine. At least you're investing your money and you're getting ahead in some way. But if you're just partying, going hard, enjoying life, which don't get me wrong, we all did it and it's great. 100%. But just make sure you're putting something away for your future.
That's it.
Coming from a bloke that's getting a little bit older now, it goes really fast.
Yeah, it does, 100%. And Perth is one of the most affordable cities, almost, well, in Australia it is, almost in the world. You can't get any blocks of land or build a house 400 meters to the beach for under $750 in the world. It's unbelievable.
Great.
So it's more of a tool. Like people say, I want to build in 12 months' time, as you said. But essentially, if you've got title 6 months away, you going on almost, like you said, 3 years just to get a home. So it's just more understanding the process. And like we good people, we'll put you in a place where we would live with our families. Right. We're not just going to dump you on the side of the road and just say build there, it's great, and then get pay. It's more providing you with the best possible building solution and educating you on the process.
Right. Like our podcast says, champagne tastes beer budget. That's all relative as well. That's moved, and the goalposts are moving. What champagne was and what it is now, and what beer was and what beer is now. And like, yes, what we thought was an entry-level area 5 years ago is no longer an entry-level area. So that's what this podcast is all about, trying to educate people and go, what you think is a beer budget is actually not now, that's now champagne. You need to adjust, but that's okay because once you get in another 5 years, you're now going to be in a champagne area. So you can't be hard and fast set and stubborn and going, this is the area where I want to live. You need to be open-minded. And like I said, my first area was not the area I wanted to live. I actually didn't even live in it. I rent-vested because I didn't want to live there. But I wanted to get into the market. That was literally the best thing I ever did. I got such an equity bump in 12 months.
So good.
And that set me up for my life, basically. People need to do the same.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the expectation, what has set that beer budget champagne all the Instagram stories and, Pinterest, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. I think it's elevated everything when it's actually not the case. Where what we will do is we will give you a area which will give you great return, is next to close to good schools, motorways, freeways, bus stops, that sort of stuff. So your infrastructure will grow. So if you've got a community that houses 6,000 people, say Amberton Beach, that community will grow and your money will grow with you. It's just finding the right solution for you. And I think, like you said, the beer budget and the champagne has shifted a little bit. It doesn't mean you're getting something horrible. You're getting something amazing. It's just you got to be. My grandmother always used to say to me, "Don't live like the Joneses," which means basically live within your means.
Correct.
You're not going to get something awful. You're going to get something fantastic. And getting into a home now will change your life.
And purely from an investment point of view, right? You want to get into an area that is up and coming.
Yes.
And people looked at areas like Alkimos and things like that, and they're like, it's too far out, it's the sticks, there's nothing out there. But like any investment, like when you're buying shares in Tesla or Uber, you want to get in early when the company's a bit scrappy and it doesn't have a lot of substance behind it. And those people that did invest in those areas, in those companies early on, did bloody well.
Making money, yeah. That's right.
But same thing, people that bought in Alkimos when it was really emerging, now it's just a powerhouse community and it's amazing.
Yeah.
The amount of money they've made.
And you can't even get in there.
Great, you can't get in there. But the same thing for the next suburb along. It's too far out. I want to get in there. It's not developed yet. Guess what? It's going to be, and it's going to be in a really short period of time, and you're going to get some bumps of equity through that. So just pull the trigger and
100%. Get in.
Somewhat put your ego aside, saying you want to live in these areas. Yep. Sometimes it's all about compromise and delayed gratification.
That's it.
So what does a realistic first home look like these days, and what do people need to compromise on?
I think it's changed quite a bit. A lot of people are coming in with these, 5-bedroom homes, 4x2s. The way the market has shifted with land prices, with equity, I think to get into a market or your first home buyer, you don't need this massive house, especially if you're a single person or a single mom or a couple or even a family. You don't need this massive house. And look at, Instagram and these people have built this $1 million home. I think you've got to live within your means, but also once you discuss your wish list, what is important to you, what ticks your boxes, we'll have a design for you. But the 3x2s with a cinema or 3x2s with a study, they're great homes. And I think something's got to give, obviously with wages not going up too much, that you have to have a little bit of a compromise.
There's got to be a compromise.
You've got to be a compromise in there. Whether it's having one coffee a day instead of, 3, instead of going to buy a jet ski, put a little bit of money away. Instead of going on your massive, UK holiday, save a little bit.
Go to Bali instead and go for a week instead 100%. Of 3 months. Yeah.
That's spot on. I think you've got to have a little bit of sacrifice to get into a home. But once you have it, you'll be in a way better place.
Correct. Yeah, it's a leg up. 100%.
Massively.
It's all relative again. In Western Australia, we have this obsession with big backyard, hills hoist, freaking clothesline in the backyard. It's probably a bit old. People don't understand what that means. But you look at people in New York, or a big city in Sydney. They're living in apartments, and you've got people like Hugh Jackman living in a freaking 100 square meter apartment. And where you as a first home buyer expect to have a 200 square meter home. There needs to be some adjustments in expectations. And yes, we grew up in a big family home, but that's slowly getting smaller. But that's exciting. The city's evolving. Yes, it's become more expensive. Yes, you're having to live further out, but there's also a lot of positives with that. The city's becoming cooler. It's more diversified. There's
100%.
more shops. There's more bars. There's more restaurants. There's all these cool things that are happening with a growth city. And you need to just look at it as somewhat as an investment of getting into your first home and going,
100%.
I'm just going to get in. I'm going to take somewhat of the emotion out of it. Yes, make it something special. Make sure you enjoy it. You get to go through the beautiful pre-start selections and be a part of that. But you also need to go, this is a vehicle for me to get ahead and one day achieve that.
That's
that
exactly
that I
right.
want. So, compromise is key. Delayed gratification is key. And being smart with your money. I was a sucker for it as well. I used to love going out and partying and spending my money and holidaying. And looking back, I own it. It was pretty dumb. Would I change it? Don't know. But I would be further ahead if I didn't do that. And I'm taking full accountability for that. I pissed some of it up against the wall.
Yep.
And that's where people need to take accountability for that as well. You can't get a home. That's okay. But take accountability for it and start saving. start cutting things back.
100%.
Yes, it's more expensive than it's ever been, but you still can do it.
And it's not going to change. It's just going to get more
It's
expensive.
only going to get more expensive. So you look at today and what can you control?
Exactly right. And like I have chats with clients, like they've got like 4 cars and a jet ski and all that. And there's nothing wrong. Lifestyle's great. But in 5-10 years' time, you're not really going to need those jet skis. So what I personally would do, we would look at clients is still have fun and enjoy your life, but cut back on those massive holidays. Like you said, go to Bali for a week and come back. Don't buy jet skis. They're bad. Buy home.
And the thing is, people buy jet skis or Land Cruisers or whatever. Don't get me wrong, been there. But you buy it on finance. So you're paying a high interest rate on a depreciating asset. So you've paid all this money back with all the interest rate on top of that. And then by the time you've paid it off, it's worth nothing. So you've basically pissed away double the amount of money or triple the amount of money on what you've actually paid for. And you look at the opportunity cost, because if you put that money into a property and that property went up $100,000, like you haven't just lost the jet ski cost, you've lost the jet ski cost, you've lost the interest that you would have paid on the jet ski, which probably doubled the price, and you've lost the opportunity cost because you probably could have bought a house and made $100,000 on it.
Exactly
so
right.
All of a sudden, a $25,000 jet ski has become $155,000 or $150,000 deficit of where you could have been.
Spot on.
That's accountability. You need to own that.
100%.
So how important is education and planning before you get into the market?
I think it's the most important part. What I do with my clients, and I've got really good relationships with clients. I've got clients that built with me 12 years ago that I still have relationships. I still see them, still go for dinners with. I've actually built for their children and ongoing. But what I say in the very, very beginning is see what's important, what's important with you, your family, what's your 5-year, 10-year goal, and essentially plan to get into a home. If you're not ready now, we will help you. But things like start getting in a little bit of savings, don't rack up debt like Afterpay and all that sort of stuff. It's bad news. I know it's cool having things, and sometimes life throws a curveball at you and you just have to do things. I totally get that. But just be smart about it. Get opinions from us. We have a great financial team here that work with us, and we can plan it out and strategize with you, tell you exactly what you need to do, how long it's going to take you. It doesn't cost you any money to do it. It's just planning ahead and going, right, this is my goal. This is where I want to be in 5 years' time, and we will help you plan. And things like, we always mention jet skis, but it's actually a common thing, and afterpays and pay your bills on time and that sort of stuff.
So what should buyers be doing 6 to 12 months before they want to get in?
Essentially, what we just touched on is really just keeping your savings good, keeping your job, no afterpays, no buying jet skis, that sort of stuff, because that impacts your credit. So if you can keep that clean, and even if you miss a Telstra bill or you miss a payment on your car or you go take out a massive car loan with a massive interest rate, that is going to harm your potential to get into your home. And all it is, if someone was in my life 12 years or 15 years ago and told me this, you just change it. It changes your trajectory of where you're going to go. And for someone that has a really good job but goes buys a $150,000 car, it's gonna impact you, unfortunately.
Correct. You've basically foregone a home.
Yeah, and
You gotta
on a
own
bad
that.
decision.
Yeah, you got to own that. You go, well, it's hard to get into home ownership. It's actually not that hard. You just got to not have all these personal loans, not have the credit card, not have the car on loan, and not go out for dinner every single night go out for dinner every night. So being strategic with your money. I always love the old school values. You look at what your grandparents would have done.
Yeah, exactly right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we should live like our grandparents. Obviously, society's changed a lot and you still should have fun and enjoy life. But they would have knuckled down. They would have saved money. They would have put everything away. They would have had dinner at home. They would have drunk coffee at home. And they did all the small things to sacrifice to set themselves up and your parents up and us up as a generation. So just be smart with your money. Go back to the old school values. Save it up. Don't get caught up in the Instagram life where everyone's portraying to be something that they're not. And they're all looking wealthy and traveling the world, but it's not real. So
it's not real.
Focus on what is actually real, what's tangible, and how you can actually get ahead. Which every single personal coach, any single business coach, any single wealthy person that I've ever met, they all had to compromise. They've all had to sacrifice. They're all very smart with their money. They all drive conservative cars when they were trying to build.
That's it.
And that's how you get ahead. So there's no cheat code. Just be smart.
Just be smart. And to be fair, I see a lot of people get really bad advice. They'll be like, they've been told to go get a car loan because it increases their credit report, because it shows their lending capacity. It doesn't. It's the worst decision you can ever do.
Yeah.
Just like speak to us, because we can advise you what's good, what's not, because like not all of us are financially savvy, but we can give the best possible advice to you, and then it's up to you to make the decision on what's important and what's not.
Correct. And there's no judgment, because, again, I've done a lot of stupid shit over the years and bought a lot of things, made a lot of mistakes, had to rapid fire assets to pay bills, all sorts of things. But you get all those insights, and you can sponge these mistakes that we've made and the learnings that we've picked up along the way. It's like a cheat code for you. Go, cool, it took you 10 years to get where you are. You can do it in half the amount of time if you just listen to the right advice.
That's exactly
just
right.
Be open, get your ego out of the way, and actually just take on advice from people that have done it.
Yeah, and a lot of things what people don't actually know, which I get asked about a lot, when we're actually doing credit checks and we providing you with a finance solution from our financial team of brokers, is when they check, they actually just, if I give you an example, it's like opening an envelope, peeking inside, closing the envelope and putting it away. It actually doesn't go on your credit file or anything. So it doesn't hurt you to get a bit of advice and see how we can help you and provide an action plan or game plan for you to help.
So is the fear of missing out helping or hurting first-time buyers?
I think it's absolutely helping. And even I'll give you a story. The one person we signed up in Henley Brook, they bought a 525 square meter block at 290,000. The same block in the next stage is 550,000. So it is booming. The longer you wait, the longer you're going to pay. So in example, if you had $100 notes in your wallet, every month you wait, you might as well just throw a $100 bill in the bin, because that's exactly what's happening. And that's just me. I'm raw. I'm from Joburg. That's how we talk. But essentially, I think the faster or the quicker you get into home ownership, the better it's going to be for you. Because if you look in 5 to 10 years' time, it's going to be pretty much up there.
Yep. So great. And real estate's a long game. We're not saying get in, like play the markets and sell it and make a quick buck. It's get into the market, hold it for a long period of time. And that's what property is all about. It's a long game. But yeah, there's huge equity bumps that can be had, but it's not going away. We're seeing Perth booming. So yeah, like you said, speed's key.
Yep, I agree. And I know you have a lot of barbecue chats around the fire, or you have mom's group there dancing or whatever. And you have a really good plan, and someone will say to you, it's too expensive, and it might be expensive for them, but it's not going to be relative to your situation. So get some advice, man, and we're happy to help you out.
Correct. There's like viral videos going around. I think it was an auction of land in Canberra or something like that, where people came out, and I think it was $2,000 for a block of land. And they were sitting there complaining, going, this is so unaffordable. Like, it's ridiculous. We would never pay $2,000 for a block of land. How are Australians ever meant to get into the market? It's the exact same thing they said 50 years ago is what they're saying today. And $2,000, now we look back and go, that's pretty bloody affordable. You can either have the mindset of saying it's too expensive and listen to the people that are naysayers, or you can go, I'm just going to get into the market and get myself ahead. And it's really key to get advice of people that are in a situation of where you want to be, because the ones that generally aren't where you want to be are the ones that are going to talk shit and talk you out of it. But the ones that actually are successful are going to go, absolutely.
Great idea.
Have a crack.
Yeah.
And I'll give you some advice on how to get ahead.
Yep.
People that are successful want to help you. People that aren't successful generally will talk you out of a decision to validate their indecision.
Well said. That's fantastic.
So someone that's feeling a little bit defeated and sitting on the sidelines, what is the next step they should take this week to make something happen?
Call the Q man and I will help you. And the reason why I say that is a lot of people, whether it's a man, a woman, whoever, a lot of egos and fear of rejection come into it. And all we want to do is get in touch, and we'll actually provide you with a solution. If we don't have a solution for you, we will come up with a game plan to help you. If it's a no now, it won't be a no in 12 months' time, but it's not going to hurt. And I see a lot of people that just don't know how to do anything. They just get super scared. Yep. So, for example, I had a single mom a couple of years ago that was very scared to get in. She had a lot of debt, didn't know what to do, low income, and we came up with a plan. We managed to tweak a few things. She managed to get an extra job, pumped up her income, and it got her into a home. And now she owns her own home and she doesn't have any rental inspections. But her fear was being rejected.
Yep.
And it's very common, and it's quite sad, and the majority of the men don't like saying no because they got egos. All I suggest is, and my advice is, just get in touch. We'll give you honesty. I hate the word free, but we will give you a free opinion based on what you can get.
Correct.
and we'll help you.
100%. We've seen every situation pretty much possible. Like I've been across tens of thousands of transactions across the industry. And your situation probably isn't special. Even though you think you're not in a good position, maybe you've got a default, maybe you've got the savings, we're not going to judge because we've probably seen it 10 times, 100 times, 50 times, whatever before. Right. Come in, we'll help you, we'll give you some real pragmatic advice and going, these are the things you need to do. But a lot of the time they come in and think they can't do something, and they actually can, like we're talking about with securing something that's pre-titled. Most people are very, very close to being in the position to do something. So reach out. You're that close. The only thing that's holding yourself back is yourself. Just pick up the phone and have a crack.
That's right. 100%.
Another thing people can consider is they can't get into the market themselves, maybe based on their income. It's not where it needs to be just yet. And with a few pay rises, they may get there. But consider buying with a sibling, a friend. We see that quite regularly now. You go rent with a housemate or your mate, one of your best mates. I did it. But it's like, hey, let's buy a house together. Set it up, make sure the contractual side's all safe. But you buy a house together, you both get that equity bump, you get ahead, you may sell that house, you both walk away with $50,000 to $100,000, and then you can go buy your own home. Or you can decide to rent that house out, whatever that may be.
Amazing.
But sometimes it's like thinking outside the box. Just a step into the ladder, a step into the market is any step's a good step.
Exactly
right.
right.
It's like when you're putting money into a company or you're investing into stocks or whatever that may be. Sometimes you just got to, be a bit more open-minded.
That's it.
So give me an example of a situation that's stuck with you where someone pushed and was really relentless and they made it happen.
Cool. I had a really awesome client that I dealt with. He came off quite a nasty divorce, ended up having literally nothing to his name. Round the threshold of the age where banks will lend to before you have an extra strategy, so it was quite hard. He had a couple of defaults. He just had a bad run, man, and such a nice man. I really wanted to help him, so we did. We sat with our great bunch of brokers, and we came up with a solution where we could go through to a bank where he had a default. And how it essentially worked, because he was bordering on that threshold of the banks being wary of his age, we had to do a justification of where he needed to go to in a short period of loan time. So, for example, most people can get a loan for 30 years. When you're at a certain age, the bank will look at you to go and say you are at high risk to paying it off. So you'll have a 15-year loan term and you need a strategy of how you're going to pay your mortgage. As well as we had to work with a credit repair agency to remove the bad debt off his name. So what we did, we engaged with a repair agency. We basically paid the debt off. They cleaned his name, went through. We've got a block that's titled. 12 months later, we secured that with a minimal deposit. We worked on him with his savings, justification letter. Eventually, we pushed through all the barriers, and he got his home finally. Which every single person in Perth, I can hand on heart tell you, would have walked away from the situation because it's just too hard. So yes, it's tricky and we've got a lot of hurdles and barriers to break through. There's always a solution. And that Brian, I'll remember for the rest of his life, because the look in his eyes and his gratitude once he got his keys was unbelievable.
It's amazing. So Q-Man, thanks for joining us today and sharing all your insights and what's possible for first-time buyers to get into the market today.
Thank you very much. It's been emotional.
If this episode inspired you, please share with a mate, leave us a review and subscribe. A big thanks to Q-Man, Quentin Smith. He's one of our advocate managers here at Locale Property Group. He brings so much vibrance, positivity and strong leadership, and we absolutely love having him on the team. You've been listening to Own It, Your Property Partner. Thanks for listening.